just have a talk on the sidewalk, alright? Yeah, please. Alright, man, what is that thing like that?
Anthony McClain, the horrifying truth behind a simple traffic stop. Greetings, everyone. Today we'll discuss how a simple traffic stop escalated into a massive controversy in America, even resulting in a death. On August 15, 2020, this incident in Pasadena, California, once again brought issues of police brutality, the pursuit of justice, and public trust to the forefront of public awareness. In this video, we'll examine the incident from different perspectives. We'll objectively examine what the police said, what the family argued, how the legal proceedings unfolded, and how all of this resonated with the public. If you're ready, let's dive into the details of this complex case. The beginning of the incident, a stop, a chase, and confusing moments. It all began when Officer Edwin Dumaguinden of the Pasadena Police Department stopped a vehicle with a missing front license plate near La Pintoresca Park. The passenger was Anthony McClain. The police stopped the car and asked the occupants to get out. The driver got out, but Anthony McClain started running after he got out. The officers immediately gave chase, and it was during this chase that 2 bullets were fired, knocking McClain to the ground. This is where things get quite complicated, as both the police department and McClain's attorneys offered completely different accounts of the incident. Let's take a closer look at how each side describes the incident. The police side's account: he had a gun in his waistband. According to the police officer's official reports, Anthony McClain immediately fled after exiting the vehicle. Officers claimed to have seen a gun in McClain's waistband during the chase. According to police, McClain drew his gun as he fled and turned to look at the officer pursuing him. It was at this critical moment that Officer Dumaguinden reportedly pulled the trigger. Even after being shot, McClain ran for about 50 meters, threw his gun, and finally collapsed. An examination of the scene revealed a .40 caliber pistol with an obliterated serial number. Anthony McClain's DNA was allegedly found on this pistol. Police firmly believed that the weapon was in McClain's possession at the time of the incident. The McClain family and lawyers' narrative: he was unarmed and set up. The lawyers representing Anthony McClain's family vehemently disputed this narrative. Their central claim was that Anthony McClain was unarmed. They also made the outrageous claim that the gun found at the scene was planted there by the police. The family maintained that Officer Dumaguinden shot McClain twice in the back, without warning or legal justification. The allegations did not end there. Lawyers stated that McClain, who fell to the ground after being shot, was denied first aid for 10-15 minutes. Instead, he was handcuffed with a knee on his back. There were even claims that McClain said, "I can't breathe," in his final moments, a statement that resonated widely with the George Floyd incident. Autopsy report and crime scene footage. How illuminating. The autopsy report confirmed that McClain suffered a fatal gunshot wound to his right back. The bullet had penetrated his right lung. A second graze wound was also found on his shoulder. Although he was taken to the hospital conscious, Anthony McClain sadly died after surgery. The Pasadena Police Department released dashcam and bodycam footage of the incident to the public. These footage shows McClain with his hand on his hip as he fled. However, the limited camera angles have led to varying interpretations, and the question of whether the gun was clearly visible or was actually used remains controversial. So unfortunately, there is no clear image that can say this is it. Legal process. Where does justice stand? Following this tragic incident, a complex series of processes, both criminal and legal, were initiated. Prosecutor's decision. Was the officer acquitted? The Los Angeles District Attorney's Office conducted a comprehensive investigation to determine whether criminal charges should be filed against Officer Edwin Dumaguinden. Police reports, autopsy results, witness testimony, and all video evidence were thoroughly reviewed. However, the prosecutor's office ultimately ruled there is insufficient evidence to prove beyond a reasonable doubt that Dumaguinden's decision to use lethal force was unreasonable. This meant that the prosecutor's office concluded that McClain's actions supported the officer's use of lethal force, and no criminal charges would be pursued against the officer. Unsurprisingly, this decision caused considerable disappointment among McClain's family and supporters. Compensation suit and million-dollar settlement. Following this conclusion of the criminal investigation, Anthony McClain's father, Archie Berry, filed a federal civil rights lawsuit against the city of Pasadena and several of the officers involved. This lawsuit alleged a police cover-up and planting of the weapon. After a lengthy and complex legal process, the city of Pasadena reached a massive $7.5 million settlement with the mother of 3 children. While the settlement did not admit direct responsibility on the part of the police, it acknowledged the seriousness of the incident. And it was a crucial step, demonstrating the magnitude of the loss suffered by the McClain family. Such a high compensation can be a common legal remedy in such cases. Social repercussions. How does an event become a symbol? The shooting of Anthony McClain was not merely a personal tragedy. It became part of the broader social and political tensions America was experiencing at the time. Wave of protests and civil pressure. McClain's death fell amidst the massive global wave of protests against police brutality that followed the killing of George Floyd. Thousands of people took to the streets in Pasadena, calling for justice, radical police reforms, and increased transparency. These protests exerted significant public pressure on local governments and police forces, keeping the case in the spotlight. Trust issues and social tension. The Anthony McClain incident, unfortunately, further eroded trust in the police, especially among minority communities. Differences in narratives between police and family members, and the interpretation of evidence, the contradictions in the matter and the prosecutor's decision not to prosecute have raised serious questions about the legal system's ability to deliver justice. This has fueled an ongoing public debate about police-citizen relations that deserves to be thoroughly explored. My opinion and your comments. So considering all this information, what do I think? Frankly, this incident is incredibly complex and full of gray areas. It happened at night, and the camera footage unfortunately doesn't show everything clearly, making it incredibly difficult to interpret. If the police officers claimed it did, and McClain pulled a gun from his waistband, then it's understandable that the officers defended themselves and fired. Because when a gun is involved, the officers' lives are directly endangered. Ensuring their own safety is among their priorities. On the other hand, the $7.5 million compensation paid to McClain's family is a very high figure. This raises a significant question. If there was no negligence or wrongdoing, why was such a high compensation awarded? If compensation was awarded, could they be trying to cover something up? As you can see, no matter how you look at this situation, we don't have clear and conclusive evidence. Aside from eyewitnesses and police officers, the footage makes it incredibly difficult to interpret the incident. Therefore, it's very difficult to reach a definitive conclusion. So what are your thoughts on this matter? What's your take on this incident? Don't forget to share your thoughts with me in the comments. Also, if you'd like to see more videos like this, don't forget to subscribe to my channel and like the video. It would make me very happy. See you in another video. Goodbye.